Hey, what's up guys? Steve here, and today we're going to take a look at the 15 highest selling baseball cards from the March of 2023 Elite Goldin auction. I also want to mention I filtered today's list looking at baseball cards from 1999 and older, so we get a good mix of 90s inserts and rookie cards, along with a handful of vintage cards as well. And we'll kick today's list off at number 15 with this 1996 Select Certified Mirror Gold Alex Rodriguez, card number 6. This was a PSA 9 that received 18 bids and sold for $3,600. This is the first ever sell of a PSA 9 I could find, along with the highest graded copy in a PSA slab, and I was surprised at how low this went for. A PSA 7 sold for $2,135 back in September of 2021. The all-time record sale of this card is still held by a Beckett 9 that sold for $10,300 on eBay back in July of 2019. Up next at number 14 is this 1993 Upper Deck SP Foil Derek Jeter Rookie, card number 279. This was a BGS 9.5 that received 27 bids and sold for $6,300. This price is right in line with the current average sale price of a BGS 9.5. The Beckett population reports currently show no gold or black labeled pristine 10s, but we will see a PSA 10 sell of this card later on today's video. Coming in at number 13 is this 1990 Topps Frank Thomas No Name on Front Air rookie card, card number 414. This was a PSA 5 that received 24 bids and sold for $6,360. This card continues to hold great value even in lower mid-grade, and for a quick spoiler alert, there is a higher graded copy of this Air card we will see later on today's video. We get our first vintage card at number 12 with this 1933 Warch Cigar Lou Gehrig. This was a PSA 5 that received 30 bids and sold for just over $8,000. This sale is down as the last PSA 5 just sold on eBay in February for just over $10,000. That was also the all-time record sale for this card and the first to break the 5-figure mark as well. Get another rare 1990s insert at number 11 with this 1996 Select Certified Edition Mirror Blue Derek Jeter, card number 200. This was a PSA 9 that received 29 bids and sold for $8,496. This sale is down from the last PSA 9 to hit the market that sold for $11,322 back in July of 2022. The all-time record sale of this card is still held by a PSA 10 that sold for $37,200 at a Goldin auction back in early 2020. The last BGS 9.5 sold for $22,200 back in May of 2021. A-Rod makes another appearance to kick off the top 10, this time with his 1994 Upper Deck SP Foil Rookie, card number 15. This was a PSA 10 that received 21 bids and sold for $9,120. This sale is right in line with the last PSA 10 that sold in 2022, but there were multiple PSA 10s that sold for $16,000 to $22,000 in 2022. The all-time record sale of this card is still held by a PSA 10 that sold for $40,590 at a Goldin auction back in March of 2021. We're back to vintage at number 9 with this 1933 Gaudy Babe Ruth, card number 144. This was an SGC 2.5 that received 16 bids and sold for $10,920. This sale is down roughly $1,700 from the last SGC 2.5 that hit the market in May of last year. The all-time record sale of this card is still held by a PSA 9 that sold for $528,000 at a heritage auction back in 2019. Up next at number 8 is this 1997 Pinnacle Certified Team Mirror Gold Alex Rodriguez, card number 5. This was a PSA 10 that received 29 bids and sold for $10,952. This card was serial numbered 13 out of 25, and I was unable to find any prior sales of this rare 90s insert. Making another appearance at number 7, we get this 1990 Topps Frank Thomas No Name on Front Air rookie card, card number 414. This was a PSA 8 that received 21 bids and sold for $12 grand. This sale is up compared to the last two PSA 8s that sold in 2022, and also falls only $600 short of the record sale for a PSA 8. The all-time record sale of this card is still held by a PSA 10 that sold for $170,400 at a Goldin auction back in December of last year. Up next at number 6 is this 1951 Bowman Willie Mays rookie, card number 305. This was a PSA 4 that received 21 bids and sold for $13,200. This sale is up from the last PSA 4 that sold for $9,300 back in October of last year. The all-time record sale of this rookie is still held by a PSA 8 that sold for $276,000 at the peak of the market back in early 2021. An interesting note while doing research for this card, the highest graded copy to ever hit the market is a PSA 9, but the last comp I could find is from a memory lane auction back in 2008, where a PSA 9 sold for just over $85,000. Kicking off the top 5 of today's list is this 1933 Gaudi Babe Ruth, card number 53. This was a PSA 2.5 that received 23 bids and sold for $14,400. This sale is down roughly $1,400 from the last PSA 2.5 that sold back in 2022. The all-time record sale of this card is still held by a PSA 9 that sold for just over $4.2 million at a memory lane auction back in July of 2021. We get another rare 90s baseball insert at number 4, with this 1997 Flair Showcase Legacy Collections Row Zero Ken Griffey Jr., card number 24. This was a BGS 9.5 that received 39 bids and sold for $15 grand. This is undoubtedly the new record sale of this card in any grade by any grading company. Matter of fact, the last BGS 9.5 sold for $408 back in September of 2022, and the previous record sale of this card was held by a PSA 10 that sold for $1,677 back in January of 2022. We get our last vintage baseball card to make today's list at number 3, with this 1926 Spalding Champions Babe Ruth. This was a PSA 9 that received 26 bids and sold for $18,000. This price matches the all-time record sale of this card that is tied between another PSA 9 that sold for $18 grand back in June of 2022 and also an SGC 9 that sold for $18 grand back in May of 2021. Up next at number 2 is this 1992 Little Sun Prospects autographed Derek Jeter. This was a PSA 10 that received 28 bids and sold for $19,200. This sale is down as the only comp for a PSA 10 from 2022 sold for $24,000. The all-time record sale of this card is still held by a PSA 10 that sold for $61,200 at a Goldin auction back in March of 2021. And topping off today's list at number 1 is this 1993 Upper Deck SP Foil Derek Jeter Rookie, card number 279. This was an SGC 10 that received 28 bids and sold for $91,200. This sale is down as the last SGC 10 to hit the market sold for $168,000 back in February of 2022. The all-time record sale of this rookie is still held by a PSA 10 that sold for $600,000 at a Goldin auction back in May of last year. Thanks for joining me today, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.